Unicorns and Dragons conclusion. What's so disruptive about what I'm describing in these videos has to do with the emphasis with social and emotional parts of the brain. And how much assistance gets provided for these and the chemicals occurring with them. Are provided more than safety, are given more than food, are given happily, joyfully, many times. And how frustrating these parts of the brains get for a person like myself who doesn't worry about emotions, who doesn't worry about hormones and chemicals and difficulty with their presence in my body. And how willing I am to say why these aren't a problem for me as a person trying to be healthy and well and love life freely. The darkest and the deepest despair with these kinds of parts of the brain and mind and body working together has to do with how far into thought I have to go to try to explain a simple and recognizable alternative, other choice, different tactic with another strategy. And how much resistance there is for this kind of thinking and thought. And how much restriction for a gosh darn patient, client, to plead with a provider to work towards these goals of better communication, better treatment, better progress. And the outcome with having to go as far as death and dying and having to go as far as explaining a woman's appearance. For the sake of sanity. Humility, humbleness, and positivity. For a life not yet fully lived. A person starts to forget their thoughts, start going and then the forgetfulness gets to be another problem that needs to be solved by the mental health provider. That gets to be another task to get figured out with the social worker counselor. And what's being accomplished and what's being allowed to be available for the patient, for the client, what's required has to do with the professional, the business, and their brain and mind accomplishing and doing similar kinds of work as the slave owner, as the racist, they scream and yell at to everyone like me with a white colored skin. No matter how hard my mind, my brain, and my body work towards success, there is never an option for succeeding. There are only choices and decision-making processes and systems for their work. And their work and the time they spend doing this job that they are a professional inside of, a part of, as a mental health provider in this context, gives them money, gives them freedom, gives them house, gives them cats and dogs, cars, and a positive outlook, helping people, making people healthier. When I was in college at Western, when I was studying film, my professor I worked most closely with, his name was Kaveh Asghari. He was an Iranian American PhD teacher. And we'd study silent film, and we'd do modern film, we do all kinds of different moving images. And in the old days, the shadows were the big, you would search for the shadow because it was so pretty on the screen. And we didn't watch superhero movies, and we didn't watch Sylvester Stallone, Arnold Schwarzenegger, emotionally sweet movies. Not for the sake of intelligence, but the respect and the admiration for achievement, beauty, and learning. And we'd psychoanalyze these difficult and teeth-grinding horror films and David Lynch. Masterpieces. Abbas Kiarostami, glorious excellence. And what I'm trying to describe has to do with a movie, the content, the brain and the mind observing the film, the body experiencing the light, the sound, or just the light. And considering not only the emotions, not only considering the distractions like the low power that just went on the screen, I had to turn it off. And not taking a woman or a man and trying to figure out how to make them better. We took the films and we thought about the world. We thought about the person in the world. We thought about all of life outside the body, brain, and mind. And now in 2020, the hope Barack Obama talked about when I was in college, the change he proclaimed in his presidential campaign, have been replaced with the coldness, the lack of heat, and the obsession with what's being said, when it's being said, and why a person says what they say. There was a communist that came to class and talked. He was from Canada, Christopher Pavsek. He's an experimental filmmaker. In his eye contact, in his voice and his posture, were unobtrusive, but his thoughts and his thinking were earth-shattering. The book he proclaimed as the Bible, Minima Moralia, by Theodor Adorno, all and forever what the world needs. And when the brain and the mind get so locked in, and the body does what the brain and mind wants, people control people. Folks get negative emotions, suffering, pain, and have despair called depression. And pleas for compassion are whispers people hear about stupidity, failure, and inconceivable ideas, not what the brain, mind, and body of the person who says they have all ready solved problems and their decision making makes the most sense. The world has taken over the brain, body, and mind. But the person, the human, are the world in the world. And the brain and the body are alive. For now.